first health meditation. Today's topic is one that's fascinating and important, and it concerns so many of my patients. The issue is sleeplessness. Why can't we sleep? Why do we wake up in the middle of the night? What are we going to do about that? So I have lots of information and thoughts on this topic, and I can't wait to share it with you. I don't know how many of my patients actually feel that they can't sleep, but it's close to 80% when they come up to see me for the first time. They feel like that they can't fall asleep, or they just can't settle down before midnight or 1 o'clock. And a lot of times there's a pattern of awakening throughout the night where the sleep isn't deep. So there's the awakening at 2 o'clock, at 3 o'clock. I have so many patients who tell me they wake up in the middle of the night, they exercise, they read, they cook dinner for the next day, and then they go back to sleep at 5 and sleep for another few hours. And it's exhausting. And they don't know what to do about it. It's a huge industry, a pharmaceutical industry out there with sleep aids. There's Ambien and Xanax and all the medications that my patients come in saying that they take and that helps them. But the research is not good on these medications. For example, with Ambien, there's new data coming in showing that it increases Alzheimer's disease. And when they do sleep studies on patients who take Ambien, those patients actually sleep only 15 to 20 minutes more than when they didn't take Ambien. It's just that they have no memory of being awake and they think they slept better. But actually the benefit of these medications is not really in terms of giving you a good night's sleep. You kind of just forget that you weren't asleep. So the key to sleep and deep sleep is not these kinds of medications. When I think about what works the best for my patients, the first thing is to balance all the hormones back to ideal levels. And in these meditations, you're going to hear a lot about hormonal balance because hormones are actually our body's software. So if you go to boot up your computer and you want to get information back from it, but there's no software on the computer, you aren't going to get that data back. The same thing is true of the body. The hormones tell the cells what to do. It regulates all the body's activities. It makes the brain calm and thoughtful. It allows the neurotransmitters to be active and alert when needed, and then in deep sleep when that's needed. So very frequently when patients are on the birth control pill or they're in perimenopause, and perimenopause starts in our late 30s and early 40s, or in menopause, and that's usually around 45 to 48, although sometimes much earlier, then women experience almost 100% of the time sleep disruption. Even if they slept really well when they were younger, for no reason, it's like a bolt of lightning is going through them in the middle of the night, and they classically wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes for hours. This awakefulness is due to low estrogen. And of course, estrogen is the major ovarian hormone, and we just stop making estrogen at a certain point in our lives. So the definition of menopause is no estrogen, and perimenopause is some estrogen. And what we've learned is that when we give hormones back to patients, the bioidentical natural hormones, their sleep becomes deep and tranquil again. So I do this, I've done this for years, for almost 30 years with patients, and I've seen how very exhausted, tired, almost desperate for sleep women start to sleep very easily. Another hormone abnormality that causes sleep disruption is adrenal stress deficiency syndrome. And it's natural that when people are really stressed and doing a lot of activities, that their brain doesn't turn off at night. And what we've found is that when people go into this high stress situation, they pour out their adrenal hormones. And those are very, very important in terms of keeping us awake and then allowing us to go to sleep at night. Cortisol being one of those very, very important hormones. So we can calm those hormones down at night, and we can replenish those hormones during the day. And when we help patients deal with their stress and replete their adrenal stress glands and do stress meditations throughout the day, even if it's for 10 seconds, those patients sleep much, much better at night. There are a number of sleep supplements that I like to help my patients with. They're not pharmaceuticals, they're natural plant remedies. So I created one supplement called Sweet Sleep that combines GABA, and that's a brain neurotransmitter, with 5-HTP. And 5-HTP is a precursor to melatonin. And when those are combined together with a few other supplements and vitamins, sleep becomes much more regulated and deep. So I love to prescribe that for patients. Anyone can buy magnesium, not calcium magnesium, but just pure magnesium at their pharmacy. And taking 500 to 1,000 milligrams does wonders for relaxing the muscles and inducing sleep. There's a special kind of magnesium that'll cross the blood-brain barrier more effectively. Melatonin, of course, induces sleep, and melatonin is a brain hormone. It actually is an antioxidant for the brain, and you can take any place between 1 to 20 milligrams of melatonin. And if you feel hungover the next day, you just take it earlier in the day. And as an antioxidant to the brain, that means it actually helps the brain to function better. There are other hormones that I like to use. I like to use kava kava, and there's valerian root, which is sort of a natural Valium. And usually I'll combine these together into what I call a sleep cocktail. And you take a little of this, a little of that. It's kind of like a little bit of alchemy. And sleep is much deeper and more tranquil. So balancing all the hormones back to youthful levels, helping with a little plant herbs for better sleep. And then there's the whole concept of establishing sleep hygiene. And what that means is establishing a set pattern each night to guide you more naturally into sleep. When I was a child, I was living in Oregon as a child, in the great Northwest. There were a lot of logging trains and trains going throughout the night. And I developed a pattern at night where I would start to hear a train in the distance, and I would hear its distant whistle. And I told myself that I had to jump on the back of that train in order to be taken to sleepland. And I started this when I was probably 6 or 7 years old. And when the train would come closer and closer and closer, I would literally jump on the train and fall into a deep, deep sleep. And what I told myself was that if I wasn't completely asleep by the time the train disappeared and, went through Eugene, Oregon, and went out the other side, that I would miss going to dreamland. So I actually cultivated lifelong sleep patterns with this game. You can do the same thing by developing a sleep routine where you take, for example, a warm bath or a warm shower, and then you do a little bit of breathing just in bed where you breathe in and breathe out. Some people have a cup of warm tea. Chamomile tea is really a nice sleepy time tea. And you always do the same thing at night. I have some patients who have sung themselves little songs, probably like their mother used to do when they were so young. And this little routine that we set up actually induces sleep in us. And when we break that routine, then we're out of that sleep pattern. When I was in medical school, I learned self-hypnosis because at any moment of the night, I would have to wake up and deliver a baby or deal with trauma and rush someone to surgery. And I learned that I could teach myself to fall asleep at any time, whenever I wanted to, and for any amount of time. And what I would do is just lie in the little, we'd call it an on-call room. I'd put my hands on my abdomen and just start slowly breathing. And it was really a form of hypnosis that I did. So in the meditation that's going to follow, I'm going to take you through some of this hypnosis and help you to learn some of that self-hypnosis pattern. But before we go there, I'd like to just mention and emphasize really how important sleep is. Sleep is the time when our body cleanses itself. It's the great detox time. And all the toxins and impurities of our body are cleansed during the middle of the night. So if we don't sleep enough, we really don't cleanse the body enough. So what happens is that we become more toxic, and that toxicity leads to future illness. And what we found is that you need to sleep at least 8 hours. They actually say 8 hours and 15 minutes. And that if you cut it short, then the body and the brain and all the cells in your body don't cleanse themselves and become new and whole again. It's kind of like night after night you have a sleep crew come into your body after the big convention of the day. And if we limit that cleanup crew's time, the body just stays toxic and that toxicity accumulates itself. So when that happens, we gain weight. Our memory becomes less clear. It causes depression. And boy, the studies on sleeplessness are, there've been a lot of them showing how it leads to major kinds of illnesses like heart disease too. So what I'd like to suggest is we stop this tug of war between you and sleep. I mean, nature has already decided that we need to sleep. We simply cannot stay awake. So if we become friendly with our sleep and friendly with our need for sleep, everyone wins. It's kind of like if you're a big basketball star, you need the team around you to be great. So all the sleep players, those people that come out at sleep to help you cleanse your body and to reset your metabolism, are part of your players. They're part of your team members. So what I'd like to suggest is you allocate 16 hours to being awake, and that's when your conscious self is in charge. You can do all the missions that you need to accomplish and all your work, and then at night, allow the night crew to take over for 8 full hours. And that's the dreamy, unconscious, all the parts of yourself that you don't really have control over, but your body knows what to do. It just needs the time to do it.